Welcome, kindred spirits, to the Meadow and Hawk Collective. This is Haley, connecting with you all to share about what I'm feeling into around the Taurus new moon, which is going to go exact 7:30 p.m. Universal Time on April 27th. And this video is going to be a little all over the place because about a week ago, a little more than a week ago, I received a message around an elk and how that connects into our experience around this time. And so we're gonna kind of weave, as always, threads of Sabian symbols, astrology, intuitive hits, kind of the general placement of where we are at the wheel of the year. So we're just gonna jump into it. And so around this week kind of leading up to the Taurus new moon, we have a lot going on. We have a lot of earth energies, very, very active. Of course, we had Earth Day on the 22nd, honoring the sacred planet, this being, this deity of Gaia that we are so lucky to live within, live upon. And then we also have the Festival of the Green Man, or the forest deities, on the April 23rd. On the 25th, we have an ancient Roman festival called Floralia, which honors the union of the horned god and the kind of emergence of the spring goddess. We also have Bealtaine, aka Beltane, on April 30th and May 1st, May Day, this sacred fire festival honoring again the union of the masculine and the feminine principles, the Hieros Gamos, the highest marriage of this kind of masculine principle, and then the spiralic serpentine feminine energy that is complementary. And so all of these sacred ancient markings, celebrations kind of add a flavor to this new moon as like an extreme fertile window of opportunity and deep support. And so first, our window into this exploration is going to be the Sabian symbol for the new moon. So the sun and the moon are going to connect at 7 degrees and 46 minutes of the sign of Taurus. And so we kind of round up to 8 degrees of Taurus. So this Sabian symbol is called a sleigh without snow. This symbol implies having the vehicle but not the fuel, the gas, or energy to get the vehicle going or make use of what's available. It speaks about seasonal variations where things available sometimes are not available at others. You may have to make the most of situations without much help. Are you expending energy trying to make things work in difficult conditions? You can often fuel things by tapping into your imagination. What adjustments or improvisations can be made? You may sometimes need to wait until the time is right to have the fuel to complete your mission. Independence from outer circumstances, anticipating future conditions, having no money or resources to move forward, filling up your tank, the value of timing, forcing your ideas or feelings even when you know the time is not right, lack of environmental support, missing connections, and the right thing in the wrong place. And this whole thing, when I feel into it, feels like the energy of grace. Because when we don't have the fuel, so to speak, when we kind of have to, or we feel we don't have what it takes. Because I feel like kind of rock bottom, the energy of the rock bottom is kind of the entry point for a lot of us around this Taurus new moon as we've moved through eclipse season. March and April have been astrologically very, very hectic. A lot of noise, a lot going on, a lot of bringing to the surface doubts, feeling like we don't have what it takes, we don't have the fuel, so to speak. Then the energy of elk, which came in very, very strong when I was meditating on this new moon about a week ago, kind of feels like the elk is the vehicle, because I had this kind of vision of the elk symbolically, this sacred symbol of the grounded, rooted, reliable masculine principle, which is dependable, which is solid, which is stable, which is peaceful. I had this vision of the elk kind of carrying us across this clearing, completing this crossing with us. Kind of we were resting upon its antlers and then being slowly, gently lowered to the ground so that we could walk on our own. And when I feel into this, it feels like a deep, deep source of support and protection. Something kind of guiding the hand ever so slightly. Like a very, very, very trustworthy, I'm struggling to find the words, but there's a very tangible, felt quality of being held and being contained. And that even sometimes the way that we get there is to the reaching out our hands and being like, help, some force larger than myself, some force more ancient, more wise, more true than the small ego self, like, take it. And there's a way that there is something that takes it around this time, and it feels very, very Kismet. So this is kind of some writing about the elk that I received. Elk is the energy that carries us when we can walk no further. It is the wind that suddenly fills our sails and pushes us out of a rocky passage. The breath that fills us, pouring into our lungs and making the impossible possible in a window of time. It is the break in the rain, the bread that saves, the money that arrives, and the company that resurrects a dream, a possibility, a way forward, a way through. And it feels like this energy of timing is very, very potent. Like, even in the quote-unquote wrong place, we get to the right place, which is like the energy of grace. That there's a force that's wider, broader, that can contain everything. And it feels like this lunation is like a deep breath in. And when I was kind of looking into a rune that might reflect this energy of elk, I came across the algiz rune, which is kind of the shape of a Y, which kind of looks like an antler. And it kind of symbolizes guidance, protection, and help. So let me read a little bit about this rune. A figure stands alone in the wilderness, arms upraised to the heavens. Overhead, a rainbow appears, the Bifrost bridge leading to the heavens. The Algiz or Elhaz rune is a rune of great blessings. It symbolizes protection and defense. As Elhaz, it symbolizes the elk, or the serrated edges of the elk sedge plant. Both of these relate to its qualities of defense. As Algiz, it refers to the swan or swan maiden, the fierce and beautiful Valkyrie who chooses the best and bravest from amongst the slain to carry to a place of honor at Odin's table. Algiz reminds us that when we live in harmony with the land, it protects and harbors us. And this astrologically, kind of in the week leading up, there's a lot of astrological contacts between Venus and the North Node, Venus and Saturn, Saturn and the North Node, at the time of this lunation, Saturn being in between Venus and the North Node. And this like very potent energy of marriage, of devotion and commitment, in kind of the ways that in myth and lore, like the maiden often has a dragon or a sacred familiar companion animal, like a dog or a swan, or there's some connection where through the outpouring, the sharing of love, there's a reciprocal form of connection that leads to defense, where both are willing to defend and protect the other. And this is kind of a very potent theme that I was feeling into, where we have these archetypes, these symbols, these guardians of things like dragons, serpents, knights, all of these symbolic protectors of the feminine. These protectors of the feminine. And then when I was kind of tuning into the tarot around this new moon, it kind of felt like there was a change in fortune, like a very literal, I believe the Wheel of Fortune, the Seven of Pentacles, I want to say. There's a lot of energy around changing fortune somehow. That when we're rooted with Gaia, with earth energy, and with these protectors of the feminine through the ways that we devote ourselves to stewardship being a really big word around this time. Like the elk being a steward of land. Stewarding land through cultivating beauty, through cultivating presence. And there's a way that around this new moon, through bringing our devotion and love to something, there's the law of karma in a way with the North Node so close to Venus and Saturn is amplified in a way, is amplified. And so that there's kind of a way that past good deeds that were done out of the goodness of our hearts and our devotion and out of love, there's a way that they're paid back tenfold now. It feels like a 10-year cycle where a lot of people have been giving out of the goodness of their hearts, and it feels like it's not been repaid in a way. There's a way that this Taurus new moon initiates a cycle where debts are repaid, where it's like initially where we couldn't see a way forward, where there was no way, where there was no wind in the sails, where there was no possibility of something happening. There's a shift that occurs where like the only word that seems right is magic. Like there's a way that kind of help kind of comes through at the symbolic 11th hour, that we kind of have these experiences like that. Did that just happen? Like that was a little too on the nose, where there's like a very Kismet way that things are weaving back together. So I think to close this video, excuse me, I'm gonna pull an oracle card for us from the Wild Chorus deck. The energy of elk. What is the message for us in the Meadow and Hawk Collective around this Taurus new moon coming through on the 27th? I almost want to read that again. Elk is the energy that carries us when we can walk no further. It is the wind that suddenly fills our sails and pushes us out of a rocky passage. The breath that fills us, pouring into our lungs and making the impossible possible in a window of time. It is the break in the rain, the bread that saves, the money that arrives, and the company that resurrects a dream, a possibility, a way forward, a way through. Interesting. Okay. The card that I pulled is Beside Time, We Make a Circle. We have the raven, we have the moth. Interesting how the card I believe I pulled for the last full moon, the Libra full moon, also had the raven and the moth energy present. A lot of these psychopomp energies, very close to the veil, very close to the other realms, death. Beside time, we make a circle. This card symbolizes circle casting, time witchery, and agency. That's so funny. I feel like I said something about that, maybe, around like timing, like being just at the right place at the right time, even when we thought we were in the wrong place. There's a way that is just like this protective, like Archangel Michael energy, where it's like this fierce protection. Circle casting, time witchery, and agency. Summer insects waft through a winter scene as the crow is circled by the words of the spell. When this card shows up, it is an invitation to work with the world through a magical or unordinary lens. We mostly experience time as linear, flowing away from the past through the present to the future. But time is far stranger than that. Even physicists aren't entirely sure it exists as something outside our perception. Time is much more like the whole water cycle than a single river. Much like this vision of butterflies on icicles, our experience of time can stretch, slow down, and fold back on itself. This feels so apt. Time is being so strange at the moment. In at least my own experience and other people I've talked to, it feels like a compression of sorts, but also like a looping, like this circular energy of karma being really, really loud, but not in like a punishing way, but in this like very like poetic, you know, Venusian Saturn way, where it's like a beautiful like vow feeling, beautiful vow feeling. Working with this card, be hesitant to dismiss anything right now as too wild to consider or too ordinary to be of interest. Bring yourself fully into this present moment, as though you were stepping to the center of a circle. Instead of thinking or worrying about the past or the future, let both of those rivers flow in towards you. Gather from them whatever you may need and release into them whatever you do not. Your agency is a key factor in the situation at hand, and like in a lucid dream, you have more power here than you think you do. If this card is turned up when you feel you don't have enough hours in the day or don't have the capacity to create, that kind of empty sleigh, what was that Sabian symbol called? A sleigh without snow. That kind of feeling. It's time to cast your circle and return to the well. Locate yourself in the center of concentric circles of time. Step through the portal of now. Be an active shaper of what is shaping you. No urgency, only agency, and magic is real. So this Taurus new moon feels magical, but feel free to share below. Kind of create a dialogue with each other around all of the kind of miraculous things that feel like they're big and small that are arising into our lives. So thank you for sharing your precious time here with me in this space, and I'm sending you a lot of elk support around this Taurus new moon. May the elk find you where you need it the most, and may the energy of grace uplift you and fill your heart with love and support today and always. So much love, many blessings.